Trick or treat, everyone! What's on the Halloween menu today? Poison apple slices! Nothing says spooky season like a batch of candy or caramel apples, but today we're switching it up and slaying the slices in both candy and caramel versions. Candied fruit poses a challenge when troubleshooting breakdown. However, with the right recipes, aftercare, and prep, it brews a potion for phenomenal poison apple slices, and the evil queen will teach us all the secrets step by step without all the troubleshooting. Just a flawless shiny coating that's nothing short of delicious. Plus 3 different treat box ideas that are as cute as a pumpkin. So let's create something magical! First, we want the candy and caramel coatings to cling to the apple slices like a glove, so prepping your apples with this cleaning method is essential for achieving that. To a pot of boiling water, go ahead and slowly add 2 tablespoons of baking soda. Careful, the cauldron will start to get fizzy. Next is 2 tablespoons of white vinegar, and start by turning your Granny Smith apples around in the boiling water for 10 seconds. Give it 10 good rotations with a slotted spoon, and quickly remove so we don't cook the apple. It also helps to scrub the waxy outer layer with a towel, then finish by placing inside of an ice bath to stop the cooking process and lift away as much wax as possible. The prep needs to be on point for everything to stick on, as well as prevent bubbles. The sliced up apples especially are extra sensitive, being that the exposed part of the flesh contains mostly water. Allow the apples to soak inside of the ice bath for 30 minutes. After that time has passed, store the apples in the fridge overnight or 10 to 12 hours for same-day apples while the sap escapes to the surface. The key is keeping your apples cold at all times to ensure either the candy or caramel sets super quickly without sliding off. Let them chill until ready to slice, and the first way to get slicing is the standard wedge. Prior to doing this, I wipe off the sap and any remaining residue with a paper towel first. And out of all the apple slicers I've tried, my absolute favorite one has a base to secure the apple in place as you center the blade for 9 perfectly even slices, and also removes the core more efficiently. I will link it down in the description box below for you to try it out. It's a game changer compared to other slicers without that base. Immediately after slicing, grab a lemon to prevent the apple slices from turning brown. I find fresh is best. From experience, they haven't oxidized from the fresh lemon juice. Although it's completely optional, I'm using a citrus juicer. And guys, if you're enjoying the video so far, be sure to join the party and subscribe for more spooky treat tutorials, and hit that bell to receive all notifications. You can never have too much lemon juice. Our friend Skelly here could have used some so he didn't rot and turn brown. I brush onto the entire apple with a pastry brush to evenly cover with a generous amount of lemon, and repeat for each apple slice. As for skewers, I recommend 6-inch wooden skewers. The length is just right for dipping. I place the skewer along the edge of the green side with the skin without puncturing the flesh or making any holes, keeping the area intact. Otherwise, it can create leakage that we don't want. The apple should be as dry as possible for dipping. It's time to dab off any excess liquid with a paper towel. Don't forget to blot the area where the skewer was inserted. Some of the juice may have squirted out there. And again, the more dry, the better the result. An important tip I mentioned earlier is keeping the apples chilled at all times, but eventually they need to go into the freezer. Snow White says the ideal time to make the switch is 30 minutes before you begin cooking the candy mixture on the stove, placed onto a sheet of parchment paper or silicone mat on top of a baking sheet that fits in your freezer. Now that the apples are prepped, having a strong salad recipe is the Evil Queen's magic potion for success. Powdered corn syrup in combination with following proper aftercare instructions has a higher chance of delaying the breakdown. The 4 ingredients you'll need are 4 cups of granulated sugar and 1 cup of the powdered corn syrup. My go-to is high sweet, high humidity candy. It's formulated to prevent the candy from becoming sticky under humid conditions. Not sponsored, I swear by it as a routine for my candy apples in place of Cairo liquid corn syrup, so automatically a stronger recipe is the better choice for something that's less stable like the slices. The magical part is adding in the coloring. Keep in mind that the metallic airbrush colors are water-based, like in this example, the gorgeous green metallic. The dye should be poured directly into 1.5 cups of bottled water. Give it a good shake, and all you need is 1 tablespoon for intense shades like the red or green Chef Master Metallics, and pour the poison into your pot. Take your time stirring and incorporating all the ingredients until well combined to eliminate clumps, which can cause crystallizing, because there's no more stirring at any point during the cooking process. And clip the candy thermometer onto your pot. Before we get boiling, the last step is wiping around the edges with a damp brush to clean any visible grains of sugar. Later on, that can burn or fall into the candy mixture. Bring your stove to medium heat and be patient. You won't think much is happening until when it's boiling. The first bubbles appear around 100 to 125 degrees. The extra liquid from the metallic color takes more time to evaporate, and the temperature hovers the most around 225. However, stick to cooking low and slow, or the candy mixture can burn in the blink of an eye. It will rise and thicken slowly to 275, but after that point is where the temperature starts to sneak up on you. Keep on the lookout for 300 degrees at the hard crack stage, and immediately remove from the heat. Hot off the stove, the candy mixture has lots of bubbles. A tip to keep the coating bubble-free is not to start dipping right away. Now's the time to add your flavoring of choice. I dropped in half a dram of this delicious green apple flavor. However, even if you decide not to add flavoring, stir the candy and wait a few minutes for the bubbles to settle down. Other tips and tricks are when removing from the freezer to transfer your apple slices to a fresh sheet of parchment or silicone mat. Basically, these frosty marks left behind are condensation that's formed while being in the freezer. Instead, change it out for a clean, dry mat and go over the apples with a paper towel to eliminate moisture and condensation from coming in contact with the candy. Our mats are clean and the candy has settled out. For dipping, tilt to angle the pot, swirl into the pool of candy. I go around 1 quick rotation without staying in there for too long. This technique ensures the coating isn't too thick. A thick shell is a common mistake with the apple slices. Another tip is to cover all the way up to the stick. Leaving uncovered will attack that area and trigger the breakdown activity even sooner. I love how the metallic has a captivating cat eye effect. For a neat and clean look, gently tap to let the excess drip off before wiping the bottom on the edge of the pot. Leaving these out for as little as 5 minutes can cause leakage, so immediately after dipping, it's a good idea to freeze them for at least 40 minutes before packaging to let the candy apple slices firm up a bit. To highlight the magic of the poison apples, I added custom decorations to match the Evil Queen's bubbling cauldron. I molded an oval frame out of chocolate to display my edible image. A hack is to cover the entire mold, including the middle part, to leave a backing as extra support for the image, and transform the frame into the Queen's magical mirror by combining gold luster dust and a few drops at a time of clear vodka, gradually adding drop-sized amounts until reaching a painting consistency. Usually the golden frames are popular for princess-themed treats, but today our villain queen is the fairest one of all. When selecting an edible image or topper for your frame, frosting sheets are more vibrant and easier to work with than wafer paper. The custom edible images I purchased were from the Sugar Art Supply Shop on Etsy. I highly recommend their super high quality frosting sheets and several sizing options to fit inside your frame. The seller only had circle images listed, however, she'll accommodate a request for the oval shape after sending her a message. Brush a thin layer of corn syrup on the back of the image and press to attach the frame. Last but not least, for the spooky presentation, I have coffin mini treat boxes from Dollar Tree. This one has a cool holographic look to it. I also molded some cute chocolate potion bottles and mini skull decorations and arranged them in the coffin box. The must follow aftercare instructions are to keep the treat boxes in the freezer when not being consumed. These were after 4 to 5 days without any breakdown. The second design screams trick or treat with this pumpkin candy apple box, this time featuring the second way to slice into round slices to look like a pumpkin shape. The apples have been prepped the night before, following the same exact method shown earlier. I cut a little bit off from the ends of the apple and continue slicing lengthwise from top to bottom, then pop out any of the seeds or stems. An idea of the thickness is just enough to fit a popsicle stick. Small apples will resemble the pumpkin shape the most, so for each apple you should get approximately 3 round slices, and I snack on the end pieces. Remember to have your lemon juice handy to brush on so the slices stay free of browning, and dry off the extra liquid. Next, I carve out a small slit with a knife by rocking back and forth and push in a wooden popsicle stick to make these fun apple pops. I like to vary and switch it up by having a few of those and the others with skewers, so there's both types to sample in the box. Simply twist the skewers straight into the bottom without puncturing the flesh. Slide your slices into the freezer 30 minutes before making the candy. All the recipe amounts are the same, only that the 1.5 cups of bottled water is poured in clear without any product for now. Instead, the gel color is mixed in after cooking when removed from the stove, so the mixture won't look like a pumpkin just yet. I'll show you exactly how to achieve the vibrant jack-o'-lantern orange during that step. Remember to wipe around the edges of the pot, and there's no more stirring after turning on the heat. Wait for the mixture to hit 300 degrees. Once cooking is complete, let's brew up this pumpkin orange shade. The magic formula consists of a balance between orange and white. A common error when combining white with a base color is accidentally using too much. All it takes is 6 drops of Chef Master Neon Orange. Stir the product in thoroughly before adding the white. Too much product, especially the white gel, breaks down the candy coating faster or can seize the mixture altogether. Then proceed with just 3 drops of white, which ensures the candy is opaque without seeing the apple underneath. I changed the mat upon taking out of the freezer to keep my surface nice and dry for dipping. Notice how fluid the candy should be. Signs of a seized mixture from too much coloring are that it thickens into a thick glob of taffy, and the whole pot of candy will go to waste being unable to dip. Simply dip one side really quick, bring the candy all the way up to the stick, then flip and do the same for the other side to reveal a beautiful glossy coat without being too thick. Compared to the wedges, the round slices are even more sensitive to break down, so it's absolutely necessary to firm them up in the freezer for 40 minutes before packaging with an assortment of signature Halloween candies. One of the most unique finds were the candy corn gummies, paired with the classic gummy worms, lollipops, Tootsie Rolls, mini chocolate bars, and Reese's Cups. To decorate the apples with a jack-o'-lantern grin, I took these adorable cookie cutters from Amazon to cut out the face with chocolate fondant. There's several eyes and mouth designs to mix and match whichever ones you like for your DIY jack-o'-lantern. I prepared a tray of the cutouts ahead of time to let them dry, and when ready to decorate, stick the fondant onto the apple with a dot of corn syrup to bring our friend Jack the Pumpkin to life. You can never go wrong with this super simple design. Top off the apples with a green Mike and Ike stem. I cut the candies in half and held in place for a few seconds with corn syrup. The Mike and Ikes are a bit heavy and may eventually fall off. I assembled the box by arranging the apple slices inside of a clear circular container with a variety of the gummies and chocolates to look like a candy bucket from a night of trick or treat. As always, the standard storing procedure is to put the treat boxes in the freezer. You may find due to the round slices having less skin protecting the apple and the flesh is mostly what's hanging onto the candy, they will start to break down sooner around where the skin and flesh meet. For example, this footage was after around 4 days. It's hard deciding whether I saved the best for last. These caramel apple slices are dipped with a caramel that's homemade and reheatable. When selecting a recipe, there's 2 types that fall under the homemade category, either heavy cream or sweetened condensed milk. Following lots of trials and testing, I wanted to show you the experiment with the sweetened condensed milk. It wasn't ideal for slices at all. Initially, the first few looked really nice. Unfortunately for the remaining apples, the caramel didn't want to stick onto the back. The consistency became extremely thick and not dippable. To actually work, it would need to be kept in a warmer for more of a dip and eat fondue kind of treat. It eventually separates, being nearly impossible to reheat or restore back to its normal state. So heavy cream is the winning recipe here for the apple slices. There's many benefits that you'll be making several batches this season. Head to the stove to measure out 2 cups of packed brown sugar, in addition to 5 tablespoons of salted butter, 1 cup of the Cairo corn syrup, and silly me forgot to add in my vanilla while filming this. Feel free to flavor with 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract, and last is 1.5 cups of heavy cream. Turn your stove on medium heat, and the best part is there's no need to stir the entire time like you would for the sweetened condensed milk recipe, only until the butter is completely melted and dissolved. Just remember to clean around the sides for a silky smooth caramel free of crystallizing, and keep on the lookout for bubbles. That's a signal to clip on the thermometer. Our helper, Chuck the Crow, is watching patiently over the stove for the caramel to reach the softball stage at 235 degrees. My favorite advantage is there's no need to rush after removing from the heat. Transfer the caramel to a microwave-safe glass measuring cup to reheat whenever the most convenient for you to dip, and pop the prepped apple slices in the freezer 30 minutes before reheating. Freezing beyond that will cause the apples to have a mushy texture. Simply reheat the caramel to a range of 175 to 180 degrees. Check for accuracy with an infrared thermometer. I recommend gently microwaving for a few 30-second intervals, then 10 seconds at a time, stirring in between. Similar method to working with chocolate melting wafers. Here the results speak for itself. The consistency is perfect for dipping without being too runny or too thick. I was able to get several done without having to stop and reheat, and clings to the entire apple front to back. In order to set and form a sturdy shell on the slices, a chewy homemade recipe is required to prevent fails. In other words, products like Kraft will slide off shortly after dipping and only works well for apples that have the whole skin barrier intact. Prior to packaging, let your caramel apples chill for around 30 minutes and drizzle on your choice of milk, white, or dark chocolate melt. The smooth caramel is an excellent canvas for a classic drizzle. I glide back and forth with a steady pressure as the chocolate flows out of the decorating bag. Select your choice of festive fall candies. I had to get these mellow cream caramel apples to match the theme. For packaging details, the clear rectangular container is from my local party store, but I will be sure to link a similar one in the description box. Time to bring all the fall vibes by spicing it up with pumpkin jelly candies and the caramel apple mellow creams. The major difference in the aftercare is that the caramel shouldn't be put in the freezer, which will alter the texture, making it brittle instead of chewy, and the inside of the apple will be mushy, which isn't a good combination. The caramel slices are only to be stored in the fridge, and a normal sign is seeing leakage after the 24-hour mark. I hope you guys enjoyed learning how to make these candy and caramel apple slices to get ready for this upcoming season. Give this video a thumbs up if you did. It's Christina here. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.